Hello, Internet friends. And first off, a subtle greeting for you. Not my boob. It's a cat. It's flipping you off. Special thanks to Elena for that shirt. It's been a while since we've done this. Yeah, short story short, I didn't feel like doing them, and no topic caught my interest, and then I stumbled into the dark hole that is SCP, not to be mistaken with STD. Now, I fell down the SCP hole once before, many years ago, but I've never been an expert or very well versed, but learning and getting lost in this online, creepy world gives me the same feeling that I used to get after watching a good horror movie where you spend the rest of the night kind of just feeling like you're being watched and jumping at every little noise. And for the most part, nothing gives me that thrill anymore. Now, if you are new to the horror community and have no idea what I'm talking about, here is the briefest, most rudimentary rundown I can give you. Not because you're stupid, but because I am. SCP is a foundation. It stands for the Special Containment Procedures Foundation, the slogan of which is Secure, Contain, Protect. I'm sensing a theme here. The responsibility of this organization is to, quote, contain entities, locations, and objects that violate natural law, end quote. So supernatural beings, phenomenon, just strange objects, etc. Each of the SCPs are also given what is called an object class. There's safe, which indicates the object, entity, or location is permanently contained, fully comprehended, and only acts abnormally when purposefully set off. It could pose a threat, but chances are slim. However, that doesn't make them any less creepy. Next, there's Euclid classification, which is sort of your middle tier. It's kind of the default classification where you put objects, entities, or locations not fully understood just yet. Lots of Euclid types are known to have autonomous thought, which is horrifying. Then there's the big kahuna, which is Keter classification, which basically means if this thing gets out, we're fucked. Or if people go near it, we're fucked. And it's really hard to stick inside of a cell and make it sit and stay. They're, for the most part, considered highly dangerous. Some SCP cases are classified as explained, which means there's some sort of normal scientific explanation for it. Then others fall under the neutralized category, which I think you get the idea, destroyed by accident or intent. Okay, now that you understand all of the technical shit, welcome to Nightmare Land. And this may be an ongoing list series since I'm highly interested in this, and if you guys like it and want more, or if you have a favorite SCP, please let me know down in the comments below. Here are just 3 of many creepy SCPs. First up to bat, we have SCP-303, SCP class, Euclid, Cayleigh class, get ready to never open a door comfortably ever again. Imagine your mom asks you to go down to the basement and grab something from the freezer. Thinking of that dark, dank place, you protest, but your mother insists, and reluctantly, you open the door, which shuts on its own as you descend the stairs. After quickly obtaining said item and rushing back up the stairs, you stop just in front of the door. From the other side, you hear a loud wheezing noise, and you feel an intense, primal fear that prevents you from opening the door. You do not want to know what is on the other side. You'll take a dark basement over that any day. And yet, standing there, shaking with terror, you're able to accurately comprehend and fear what lays beyond it. In your mind's eye, you see SCP-303, aka the Doorman. The SCP entry describes him as, quote, nude, sexless, an emaciated humanoid with reddish-brown skin. Doesn't that sound pleasant? It's void of any facial features, save for a giant sharp-toothed mouth. SCP-303 also enjoys spontaneously appearing behind closed doors, or even shower curtains, basically any sort of separation, and it likes to stand there and wheeze. Maybe you think, I'll call my mom on my handy-dandy cell phone to get her to open the door for me, only to find that your phone doesn't work. You can thank SCP-303 for that. So your terror grows and paralyzes you, and you just have to sit there and bear it until 303 decides it's had fun and fucks off. When will that be? however long it fucking feels like it. Or you could just open the door. Apparently, the doorman only allows 10% of its physical form to be seen before it vanishes on the spot. It's a little shy. But it has also been known to inadvertently kill its victims. Not through any physical violence, but because people were in fear for so long and refused to open the door, they died of dehydration. Now, what is it about 303 that scares us? Well, it plays upon our fears of the unknown, maybe on a deeper level, a fear of new opportunities. It's interesting to me that those who are terrorized by 303 all describe it even though they haven't seen it. Perhaps it's a commentary on our imagination manifesting that fear, and almost making it worse in our mind than it actually is. Because as soon as someone opens the door or breaks the barrier, symbolically overcoming that fear, the creature dematerializes and the fear is gone. It's like in a horror movie when you see the villain after building it up in your mind this whole time, it's just not as creepy anymore. I like it. Push through your fear, people. Or maybe it's just a creepy-ass asthmatic demon. Now, 303 only appears at a certain location, it seems, and is currently contained, but gosh darn it, do I still not feel comfortable opening doors. Solution: keep all your doors open, except the ones that lead to the outside. Obviously, you're just asking for a serial killer to walk in. Although, he's been known to appear behind shower curtains as well, so have fun with that next time you're doing the scrub-a-dub-dub. Second on this list is SCP-1471. SCP class, Euclid. Cayleigh class, time to switch phone providers, ditch my phone number, and maybe leave the country. So you're home alone, scrolling through your phone's app store, bored as hell, when you come across a free application called Mallow version 1.0.0. There's no reviews yet, and no listed developer, but the description reads as follows. Never settle for those awkward feelings of being alone ever again. Mallow is an exciting and interactive experience that will keep you engaged and intrigued. The anxiety of social situations can be nerve-wracking, but after just a few hours of Mallow, you will soon forget all about those painful emotions of disappointment. Be part of the new craze that is quickly becoming the next social substitute. Remember, the more you participate, the more Mallow will engage you. Your experience is completely up to you. Absolutely no ads. Enjoy. Okay, so this is a new social media craze, you think, and download it. But nothing appears on your phone. No icon anywhere to be found. Maybe a glitch with the Wi-Fi or your phone. You soon forget about it for the next few hours, when suddenly you receive an image file in a text message from an unknown number. It's the parking lot of a place you frequent. You receive similar images for the next 24 hours, and you're irritated, but not alarmed. Then, on the second day, you receive images showing you the bank, grocery store, gym you just ran errands to, and then you're home. Getting a little freaked out now, you ignore the messages, but on day 3, you really can't ignore them. You start to receive messages of candid pictures of yourself in real time, wherever you are currently, whether you're alone out in the country, in your room, or on a busy city street. But that's not the worst part. In those pictures, you'll see this lovely creature referred to as SCP-1471-A, and it's standing a little too close for comfort. You look around you and see nothing. Then, after around 90 hours or so after you first downloaded Mallow, you see flashes of this creature out of the corners of your eyes, or in the mirror, or your cell phone screen reflection. Occasionally, you get the sense that 1471-A is attempting to communicate with you, which is horrifying, but you can't understand it, or maybe you're too freaked out to even attempt to. The creature never gets violent, but there's no known cure after 90 hours to make it ever leave your peripherals. So maybe you're saying, if it never attacks me, why is it so frightening? Easy. Seeing something unexpected out of the corners of your eyes, especially something the brain snap registers as threatening or strange or unnatural, you're going to get this sense of lingering dread, especially when you turn and find nothing there. And as time goes on and it continues to attempt to communicate with you, I can't personally ever see myself getting used to a feeling like that. Perhaps it calls up things like mental illnesses, things that are ingrained into your life, and you can do your best to ignore it, but you're always going to see it in the corners and the shadows, and best you can do is to just continue forward with life and not linger on its existence. Or maybe it's just the creepiest, worst phone app ever invented. Or best, I guess from a technical standpoint. Sounds like it involves more magic spells and voodoos than it does clever coding, though. Also, any attempt to remove the program ultimately fails. So like I said at the beginning, time to throw out my current phone and get the iPhone 9S Plus 4G VR Plus or whatever they have now. And as of now, SCP monitors online app stores to ensure that SCP-1471 isn't downloaded. Then last on our list today is probably my personal favorite of what I've seen so far, which is, I'd say about 100. So this is SCP-87, and it's probably one of the most well-known SCPs, and it's often called the Never-Ending Stairway. SCP class, Euclid. Cayleigh class, House of Leaves, and my worst nightmare. Now, imagine you're at a university, or even at your high school, and you enter the stairwell in between classes, distracted by your phone, and then you nearly trip down the first flight of stairs when you realize it's pitch black. Maybe a power outage? So you take out your phone's flashlight, but the light only goes so far before it seemingly stops having any illuminating effect. Weird, but you keep going. Down, down, and several flights down, you hear the sudden pleas of a young child yelling, "Help! Please, down here," with pauses in between each. It sounds very distant. You trudge on and notice you've gone down way more floors that even exist in this building. You're alone, and the sound of the child is getting no closer, but no further away either. You feel uneasy, but begin to descend the stairs again when suddenly a disembodied face appears in front of you. In a glimpse, you can tell the features are smoothed over. It has no pupils, nostrils, or mouth. The get the fuck out of here factor hits the friggin' ceiling, and you run up the stairs, never looking behind you to see if it's following you or not, which is probably a good idea. Cayleigh, why is a friggin' stairwell so freaking creepy to you? Firstly, there's this intense darkness, which no bright light can penetrate past a certain point. That's horrifying to me. You have a very limited range of vision. Secondly, the disembodied voice that grows no closer defies your logic and reasoning. It's kind of unnerving in and of itself. Thirdly, the face, obviously, because you think you're alone, and then you're alone with a face. Fourth, the bottom of the stairwell has never been reached, up to about 470 flights down, which defies any building blueprint, and the fact that you're caught in an endless descent in darkness where your imagination can just kind of run wild, sucks. But I think as humans, we fear repeating whatever we consider mistakes in our lives, that we're caught in this never-ending cycle of inevitable failure or rejection, and this SCP really attaches to that innate fear and doesn't let go. This concept is one of my favorites because it's so simple, yet so horrifying on so many different levels. No pun intended, because of the stairs. Sorry. It's kind of like life. You're just in an endless descent, and even if you're not alone, you may feel like you are. Or sometimes, when there's a disembodied face or whatever, you're not actually alone. Also, the SCP Foundation is full of crazy motherfuckers, and they sent people down there one at a time, and each time someone went down and saw the face, they booked it back up, and some of those individuals met with not-so-nice outcomes. Currently, SCP-87 is located in an unnamed campus where occasionally people will hear knocking coming from behind the door, though at the moment it is sealed and locked. And let's hope it stays that way. So what have we learned today? Well, today I've learned that I've got a big fear of the unknown, and I don't like ghosts in the machine, so to speak. And I've also learned that just when you think you've seen, read, experienced, played through enough horror content that you can't get that deep-rooted fear again, you're wrong. And what a delight it is to feel that again. Honestly, it's been a while. I've intentionally left out bits and pieces of information from each SCP case just to give you guys the opportunity to really experience exploring the world of SCP yourselves. All links to today's relevant SCPs are listed in the description below, so have fun. Get ready for some nightmare fuel, and again, if you have a favorite SCP, you have something to add to the conversation, etc., feel free to comment down below. Maybe we'll return to the world of SCP if you guys really enjoyed this. It's been a while since wrong boob. Since I last saw you. Alright, we're done.